What's going on, guys? This is going to be Orochimaru versus Danzo. Orochimaru and Danzo, the two evil mad scientists of the Leaf. Both are constantly compared to Hiruzen. You may think the answer is obvious, but I'm here to lay out everything on the table and predict what will most likely happen in the story. I will be using 5 Kage Summit Danzo and a hypothetical full power Orochimaru, which is basically just Orochimaru from part 1, plus a Snake Hydra transformation. First is Danzo. How strong is Danzo? Well, first we gotta see where he scales, if he scales to that level. It is stated that only a Sannin can kill another Sannin, which basically means anyone on that Sannin level or higher has a chance of defeating the Sannin in question, which is the Orochimaru. So does Danzo reach that level? We know he believes he has the capabilities of becoming Hokage, and he constantly compares himself to Hiruzen, which Hiruzen was able to take on Orochimaru, so that's confidence. And also the feudal lord also believes that Danzo has the capabilities of becoming Hokage, and the feudal lord has no knowledge of Danzo's Sharingan. His physical feats are keeping up with MS Sasuke on the bridge after he got stronger from the Raikage fight because his hatred grew and his Susanoo grew even stronger by changing its appearance. His most damaging move is his combination attack with his summoning when he targets the back of Sasuke's Susanoo and peels it off. His summoning basically uses Wind Release to suck things up, and Danzo uses Wind Release to shoot strong blasts, and this is strong enough to peel Sasuke's Susanoo off. Without the Susanoo, Sasuke could have died from that if he didn't use Fire Style in time. Danzo was also holding back the fight during the fight because he wanted to save enough chakra and a Sharingan for the masked man known as Madara, who he believes could control with Shisui's eye. There's also a point in the fight where after Danzo traps Sasuke with his curse mark, Karin jumps at Danzo and tries to attack him to save Sasuke, and he has to waste time kicking her away. But if he hadn't wasted time, he was about to kill Sasuke, and he probably would have done so. He also believes he can control Madara with Kodo Matsukami at all, which is insane. And whenever we see Orochimaru go against Genjutsu, he always gets messed up by Sasuke and Itachi with just the base 3 Tomoes alone. Danzo's Genjutsu is definitely a win con in his battle, and if it really gets to this point, Danzo also has a reverse tetragram sealing that he uses at the end of the fight with Sasuke, which is basically just a tie because it costs his life as well. Now for Orochimaru. How strong is Orochimaru? Orochimaru is a very interesting character because before the war arc, his strongest state should be when he fought Hiruzen. But we know he has a sage-like transformation, which should at least eclipse his physical feats from part 1 and 2. His physical feats are taking on the Four Tails Naruto, who is near the Sannin tier because it almost killed Jiraiya. And I say almost because Jiraiya was probably holding back, and Orochimaru, even while weakened, was still able to fight and react to Four Tails Naruto, even though he didn't do any damage. But Orochimaru basically also took no damage because of his insane regeneration. Orochimaru can also create curse marks, which can paralyze enemies as well. When he is in a stronger state against Hiruzen, he is able to clash his sword with Hiruzen's staff for a period of time, before being disarmed by him. He can control the sword with his chakra in his hands, though, so it doesn't matter if he has it in his hands or not. And so he can basically make his sword fly. Physically, he is only comparable or maybe even below Hiruzen due to him getting disarmed by Hiruzen when he did fight him. And Orochimaru also has the Edo Tensei, which will be a big help in jumping Danzo and trying to mentally nerf him, since at the very least we know Tobirama was on the team with Danzo. These Edo Tensei are also similar in physical and jutsu strength to Hiruzen, meaning that they compare to Orochimaru and Danzo, and they're around that Sannin level. Orochimaru also has the Rashomon shields and his Snake Hydra transformation, which should be physically above anything I mentioned previously, and all his other techniques should be enhanced. This form really has no impressive feats because it just gets defeated by Itachi, so we cannot make any crazy assumptions other than it can do what Orochimaru can do, but better. Now for the fight. Now, I think it will start off similar to how Orochimaru fought Hiruzen, because it's basically the same person, just, you know, It's a little bit different, but you know, Danzo was taught by at the very least Tobirama, but probably Tobirama and Hashirama as well, and probably will get a mental nerf from fighting them again. And so it doesn't matter where they fight because Hashirama's wood release makes it so the area will always be covered in a forest, and Tobirama can send powerful water attacks that can cover the battlefield. But I think Danzo summoning can suck up the forest or the water that Tobirama creates, and with Danzo's help, maybe even take the Edos out of the fight by just, you know, sucking them up. As crazy as that sounds. This will leave Orochimaru wide open for powerful wind style attacks, which we have seen both Orochimaru and Danzo use wind release. And while Orochimaru probably wasn't going all out, when he did use it, it only barely damaged Genin, Sasuke, and Naruto. So Danzo's wind release is more impressive because it was able to damage 5 Kage Summit Sasuke. And Orochimaru would have knowledge on Danzo's Sharingan arm because he was the one who gave it to him, so yeah. He would know he needs to kill him 10 times, or around 10 times, and so it all depends on if Orochimaru joins the fight at first. Now, even though Danzo has stronger wind release, that's still not enough to kill Orochimaru because Orochimaru has insane regeneration. If he doesn't sit back like he did against Hiruzen and actually fights, Danzo's lives will be ran through and pretty quickly. Although I think Danzo, near on his last life, could use his reverse tetragram sealing, but that would be a tie. That wouldn't really be a win. And Danzo can also use curse marks and genjutsu on Orochimaru, which would be very effective since Orochimaru just apparently has nothing against genjutsu. So yeah. Now, in character, how I see the fight going is that Orochimaru would summon the 2 past Hokage to try and mess with Danzo's head, but it wouldn't work because as the leader of Root, he has learned to cast away with his emotions, and he would take out his Sharingan arm and fight the Hokage for a while, and Orochimaru really wouldn't join the fight, and Danzo would be slicing their limbs off with his wind release, and but they would just regenerate because they're Edo Tensei. Hashirama will create a forest while Tobirama sends water bullets at Danzo, which might kill Danzo since we saw him using Izanagi even against like Shuriken and stuff. And since also he doesn't have Monkey King Enma to protect them from the forest, deforest bloom while Hiruzen did. He would then appear somewhere else and summon his creature to suck up the trees and water from the Edos, and then Danzo would send his own wind release to try and get the Edos sucked up and I guess sealed. Orochimaru would then join the fight and punch or stab Danzo, probably killing him another time. He would then summon his own snake, Manda, or the 3 big snakes that he summoned to attack the leaf, just in case Manda doesn't want to listen to him, because, you know, Manda always need some human sacrifices or something. And then Orochimaru and the Edos will end up jumping Danzo, taking out 2 or 3 more of his lives, while he got a few while Danzo got a few hits, good hits on them. But the Edos just regenerate, and Orochimaru just uses Oral Rebirth to create a new unharmed body. So basically, Danzo's not doing anything to them. Danzo would then activate his curse mark that he placed on them because from fighting them for a bit, he would have touched them at least once due to being similar on their level. He would touch them at least once, which is all he needs to place a curse mark on them, and this would paralyze all 3 of them, and then temporarily. And Danzo would then try to genjutsu Orochimaru, which would work even if he creates another body that isn't paralyzed. It would still come from Orochimaru's mouth, which Danzo would take note of and would aim around that area and hit him anyway. If Danzo controls Orochimaru, then he controls the Edos and wins the fight. The only way to get out of this and not be hit is to go into his Snake Hydra transformation, and in this mode, he would hold off Danzo long enough for the Edos to break out, and they would jump Danzo, but even worse, causing him to just use Kodo Matsukami on one of the Edos to fight each other off. But Orochimaru can just place another sealing tag if he gets the chance. So the Edos are back under Orochimaru's control. And then they will push Danzo down to his final eye, and then Danzo will use his reverse tetragram sealing technique and seal them all inside of his body, tying the fight. The only way I see Orochimaru doing that, though, ever going into a Snake Hydra transformation is if you put a controller up his butt, which we're not doing. This is in character, and the only way I see Orochimaru actually winning the fight is if he goes full power right from the start and murder stomps Danzo with the Edos. But that would be out of character, and this is only in character. So yeah, even though Orochimaru is stronger and has better feats and better stats and stuff, I think Danzo will win just because of in character. He would just genjutsu Orochimaru probably from the beginning of the fight and automatically win. So yeah. And make sure to like and subscribe.